Bundy pinned his man one time. Pinned him again for a 5 count.
He told the referee keep counting to 5.
The fact of the matter is this: on the five-time WCW champion, now can you dig that?
Oh, what is up, Straight Talk Society? This is your host, Trevor, and I'm back again. I was just here with you a few hours ago, but I'm back again with another episode of 5 Count. Tonight, I'm just going to give my general thoughts of Monday Night Raw's debut on Netflix. Overall, I thought it was a really good show, really hot show. You could tell they put a lot into it. A lot went into the production of it, and just aesthetically, the show looked really, really good. Let me see something. Yeah, the show just looked really, really good aesthetically. And I thought overall it was a good show. It had a real big fight feel. It almost had a feel like absolutely had a feel like a PLE. It came off bigger than any of the regular PLEs, not named like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Royal Rumble. It just had that big of a feel. It almost came off like a Saudi show. The feel that they had. So we're just going to run through it real quick. I won't be here long, man, because we were on earlier for Man Talk Monday, and I'm tired. I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So let's just run through this show. Just my quick thoughts on it. Shout out to those of you watching over on Twitter. Make sure and hit the like button or however that works over there. Also, you can come on over to YouTube and support the channel if you like by smashing like on the channel. So, like I said, it was the debut. I mean, and they've been hyping this up. They put a lot of stock into this. This was like that make them or break them type deal. It was legit a sellout. I mean, the building looked great. It came from the Intuit building, the home of the LA Clippers. First of all, let's just talk about the setup, because they have that gigantic video Titantron, whatever that is, up in the ceiling. So it just looks great. It almost looked like when the UFC ran that show. Oh my God, I forgot where they ran it. I want to say it was in Mexico City or something, where they had that big screen up on the wall. It just looked great. Like, this Raw just looked like if I was trying to sell this to somebody, and I was going to somebody and I'm like, hey, what do you do? What is your show gonna look like? And then you show them that, like, this Raw just looked just beautiful, man. So they start out with this video, just, showing the history of the WWE. I mean, you had all type of clips, Stone Cold, John Cena, The Rock. You didn't have any Vince McMahon on there, but it was funny. They have completely scrubbed the WWE of Vince McMahon, and that's great. That's great. Good riddance. He needs to be completely scrubbed. But they had this gigantic curtain that shot like a projector video wall. Then the lights go down, the curtain comes up, and none other than the god of wrestling. Well, before we get to that, I do see that they changed the colors. They have a nice color scheme change now. Everything just looked different, from the referees wearing different color shirts. Now they didn't have the standard referee gear. They had more of a solid color shirt. Everything just looked great. The mat had sponsorship logos on it. Just crazy. You never thought you'd live in a world where the WWE had sponsors. They had like Fortnite. They had all type of sponsors on the mat, man. It was great. It almost looked like a UFC event. So the WWE is really, really, really going into another direction right now. So Triple H, the curtain comes up and Triple H is standing there in the ring, just getting everybody hyped for the show. Listen, man, Triple H, if Triple H was my boss, like I'd want to run through a wall for Triple H. Triple H is a fantastic boss. He comes off that way on TV, and most people seem to like him. He just gets you hype, man. Just gets you hype, and you believe what he's saying. You know what I mean? So it was just great, man. It just started out with so much energy. You knew that you were going to be in for something special, and now the show's getting ready to start, and we hear none other than the People's Champion, The Rock. His music hits. Now everybody knew that The Rock was coming. Peace to your bones. Everybody knew that The Rock was coming. So that wasn't any surprise. It was just a matter of when he was going to show up. But he opened the show. Now, I'll be the one to say this because I know nobody else is going to say this. The Rock looked old. He was letting his beard grow, obviously. Nothing ever as glorious as this one that's on my face. But he's letting his beard grow, the white beard, and he just looked tired. And he didn't come out there with his normal Rock persona, like final boss, I'm gonna kick your ass type stuff. He was coming out there being more corporate, thanking the Netflix execs. And he said that I just want to thank the man that carried this company and bled over the country, carried this company for a year. I want to thank codyrhodes, which that was weird to me because the last time we saw them, he was talking about the Cody crybabies and he wanted to make Cody bleed and Mama Rhodes and this and that. But he was being so, just showering Cody Rhodes with praise and everything like that, which I don't have a problem with it because Cody Rhodes is, the quarterback of the WWE. But it was weird. It almost seemed like whatever they were planning on doing, they were pivoting from it. So I'm be very curious. I don't know if he's not going to be able to do Mania because after this show, I don't think he's going to be able to do Mania because the way I thought this show was going to go is that he was going to attack Roman, or do something with Cody. But he was so, loving to them. And it was just like embracing and, glad to see you and all this type of stuff. So, it came off, but to me, it just looked like The Rock looked old. Like he didn't look like how he did last year, Mania time. He looked old. He looked a little tired. Maybe his movie schedule is a little bit too much. I don't know. It's very interesting to see. So, excuse me. So then we open up the match. We open up the night with tribal combat, which I figured if it wasn't going to main event, it had to open the show. And if you're getting a Roman Reigns match, you're getting a 10-minute intro minimum. And he didn't disappoint. Roman Reigns comes down with Paul Heyman. And I love this shot right here. You see the new shirts on the referees. I do want to just take the time out to just, give a shout out to Alicia Tyler, just a beautiful, beautiful woman, ring announcer. And you see the thing with her, she's fully clothed. I mean, she's literally clothed from head to toe. Even her wrists are covered up and she still looks beautiful. She still looks fantastic. She doesn't have to show her body off to be beautiful. I mean, just take notes. So you do have the tribal combat match, which we know if you're going to have a Roman Reigns match is going to be at least an hour. And this match took up every bit of the first hour. But what I will say, I really enjoyed this match. I did not enjoy the War Games. Tune in this Wednesday to Wrestling with Reality. We're giving out our 2024 End of Year Awards. I did not enjoy War Games at all, but I thoroughly enjoyed this match. Because if you're in a Roman Reigns match, you know it's going to be slow, it's going to be plodding, it's going to be a lot of rest holds. But this, excuse me, this match, they went at a nice steady pace. This match to me almost was step by step of Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40. Like started out as a back and forth wrestling match, then turned into a brawl, then all the interference, and then you had your winner. That's kind of how this started, where Solo took the bulk of the match. Like Solo was really beating the holy hell out of Roman Reigns. So you like to see that. And there was legit like fuck you Solo chants, and they didn't block it out at all. I love that. Like the crowd was letting him have it, and there was no bleeping, and Solo was just eating it up. Listen, we had a live show here in Florida on the 29th, and Solo legit gets heat. You know, people may not like him and things like that, which is ridiculous. But Solo is legit hated by the crowd, and it's a good heat. I don't think it's go away heat. I think he plays his character perfect, and people just, you know, buy into it. He's a good heel. He's a really good heel. But I thought that this match was really, really good. You did eventually have all the interference. Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu got some really good spots in on Roman Reigns. I can't wait to see that matchup. Like that's gonna be insane. Then Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso came to make the save. There was a spot where Jacob Fatu was mad at the ref for not counting the pin faster, and then Solo was trying to tell him back up, and then Solo ended up hitting the ref with the spikes. I thought that was great, and they were just brawling some more. And Roman Reigns did end up winning the match, and then in what turned out to be real dramatic. So Paul Heyman gets in the ring. Paul Heyman is on his knees, ready to present him to Ulafala. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh my God, here's where the turn's going to be. Because I always have in the back of my mind that Paul Heyman's going to turn on him. Because for me, I just can't wait until you hear Brock Lesnar's music come back, man. At some point, I'm going to be right. Brock Lesnar is going to return. And it's just like, I was just waiting for it. And then all of a sudden you look in the background and you see The Rock walking down to the ring. And I'm like, oh boy, here it is. Now they're going to set it up where The Rock is going to turn on Roman Reigns to set up whatever they're going to do. It never happened. The Rock took the Ulafala from Paul Heyman. He put it around Roman Reigns' neck and I guess dubbed him the tribal chief. But it just like that whole time was just weird because they just kept looking at each other weird. It almost came off like some weird tension. The way The Rock just kept looking at him, like you just knew at any moment Roman was going to turn and The Rock was going to nail him, or he was going to kick him in the balls, or he was going to do something. It never happened, though. It never happened. They embraced. Roman Reigns left. He's the tribal chief again, and I thought the match was really good. Like I really, really legit thought the match was really, really good. I had no complaints, and I've complained a lot about Roman Reigns matches just because of how slow and plodding they were. I just thought this match was really, really good. Both men worked hard. The interference was enough, and the interference was good. So I thought it was a great opening match. And if you're on Netflix and you're a Netflix exec and you're like, hey, who's the biggest star in this company? And you present them with Roman Reigns, and they'll be like, okay, we'll be okay. So I thought it was really good. Then John Cena comes out. So John Cena comes out and he does his whole thing. You know, he's doing this John Cena. John Cena says that he hasn't won a singles match in over 2,000 days. I got to fact check that. I cannot believe that. But he hasn't won a singles match in over 2,000 days. He was like, so he doesn't deserve to go for the title. And then he started ripping off pay-per-views, and he was like, well, wait a minute. I could win the Royal Rumble. So I guess this was his declaration for the Royal Rumble. And then he started getting hyped up, and he just said that he's going to win the Royal Rumble. So no harm, no foul. Now you have that story. John Cena is trying to win the Royal Rumble so he could compete for his 17th championship. So it's going to be a great story to see how that is, man, because John Cena is that dude. I know people don't like him, but people have come around to him a lot. But John Cena is still that dude, man. If anybody ever carried the banner for the company, it is him. So, I wish all the best on him, and I hope that this last year goes real good and we get some kick-ass matches from him. So, moving right along, we do have the WWE Women's World Heavyweight Title match between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. Now, again, we read the live show, and Rhea Ripley got the biggest pop of the night on the entire card. Rhea Ripley is by far the biggest female star in the company, but she also rivals like Cody and Jay, and she's right up there with Roman. Like, that's how popular she is. So when you look at this contest, you're like, man, Rhea Ripley is so much bigger than Liv Morgan. But I love how Liv worked this match. Liv Morgan worked this match like an old school NWA heel. Like, you're bigger than me. You probably could kick my ass, but I'm gonna outsmart you. And she just kept cutting Rhea off at every turn. And then, she has Raquel and Dom to add a little bit of extra interference. Just great, man. But Rhea at the end did end up winning the match and becoming the new WWE World's Heavyweight Champion. And just, again, though, great match. And kudos to Ref Bay, that's what we call her, Daphne LaShawn. Just another beautiful woman getting the spotlight in WWE. She has really come along in her reffing, and I like the fact that Michael Cole actually said her name. They didn't just say referee or the official. They actually said her name, man. Gave her some props, and it was good, man. Rhea Ripley is the new world's champion. It's time. It's WrestleMania season, so Rhea is. Let's see who they would do. You have this trade portal, so I don't know. Would they go to Rhea Bianca now? I don't know. I really don't know, because I think they're going Charlotte, Tiffany Stratton. So who knows? We'll see how it shapes up. Who Rhea's opponent is going to be. I know she'll feud with Liv a little bit more, but I think Liv Morgan, this title run was great. Liv Morgan, if I did give a most improved wrestler, it would be Nia Jax, but then it would be Liv Morgan, because I think Liv Morgan, for her limitations earlier on, she really came along with how great she became, how great of a character, and her in-ring has actually gotten a lot better. So kudos to Liv, man. I do think that her title run was absolutely a success, but you knew that they were going to get that belt on Rhea sooner rather than later. Rhea is the biggest star in the company as far as women, so it was only a matter of time before they put that belt back on her. And then so Rhea's going back up the ramp, and all of a sudden you hear the dong and the Undertaker. So, but you hear the dong, the lights go out, but then it turns into American Badass. Undertaker comes out on his motorcycle, rides around the ring, comes back up, meets Rhea in the center aisle, and then they pose and they go away. So what a nice moment for Rhea to be able to pose with the dead man. This shot is fantastic for more reasons than one. But Rhea is awesome. Like I said, we were at the Holiday Tour live event on the 29th, and when she came out, it was like deafening the way that crowd reacted for her. So she is a legit megastar, superstar. So, sky is the limit for her. So then we go backstage, and you have American Made. Chad Gable's telling Adam Pearce, like, hey, it's a travesty. People are saying I can't win a singles title and this and that. And he's like, I'll beat up any luchador. And, so Adam Pearce is like, any luchador? And he's like, yeah. So earlier in the night, they showed the mask again, and it actually said Penta. It said Penta on it. So we do know that Pentagon is coming. What I thought is that Pentagon was going to be Rey Mysterio's mystery partner, but the way it looks now is that it's going to be Chad Gable versus Pentagon on next week's Raw. And I say, sign me up, please. That's going to be fantastic. That match is going to slap. If it's a 3-hour show, so that I know they aren't going to rush it. Give them time. One thing I liked about tonight, nothing was rushed. They gave things time to breathe. Even though it was a 3-hour show, they got everything in that they needed to get in. The commercials, to me, I'd rather not have the commercials on Netflix, but it didn't matter. I don't care, because during the commercial time, I was able to, get my pictures and take a little bit of notes and things like that. So it didn't really bother me too much. But Chad Gable and Pentagon, if they give them maybe 10, if they give them 12 to 15 minutes, we may be going into match of the year territory. Like it may be that fantastic. I doubt they'll give them that long, but we may be going into that territory if they give them that amount of time. So really, really looking forward to that next week. So then you have the semi-main, I guess, the co-main. You had main event Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. Again, you talk about over. I posted a video on my shorts from the holiday tour. They did a Bloodline versus the Usos match, and I tell you, when Jey Uso came out, that, like, the way that arena just blew up, and the sea of fans just doing the hand movement, it was just Jey Uso is so over. My daughter even bought a Jey Uso shirt. She was like, no, I'll use my own money. Bought her a Jey Uso shirt, and it's just, man, Jey Uso is so over. It is crazy. Me and my wife are sitting there, and we're like, man, I remember. She just looks at me and she said, I remember when, and I just start laughing. We remember when they would come out with the colorful shorts and the pink t-shirt, and they'd be like, when I say ooh, you say oh, ooh, so, and nobody would say anything. You'd hear nothing but crickets. Now Jey Uso comes out, and he is like one of the most over guys in the company. Is crazy. It is like, if you would have told me a couple of years ago that Uso would have been like one of the top faces in the company, I'd have told you you're crazy. Outside of being a tag team, if you told me he was a top singles guy, I really would have thought that you were crazy. But man, main event Jey Uso is on fire, and they do it so good, having them come from the rafters. They had some rapper, I guess, bring him in. I don't even know who the hell that was. Apparently he had a joint in his hand. So, hey, Raw on Netflix, baby. We're not censoring curse words because The Rock said shit and they didn't censor. So here we go. Let's do it. Let's do the thing. So Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre had a really good match. That was a lot on Drew, though, because Drew is like one of the best in the world right now. His heel work is second to none. His in-ring style is fantastic. To me, Jey Uso needs to get more in his moveset. Travis Scott. Okay, I didn't even know who the hell that was. To me, Jey Uso needs to get more in his repertoire when it comes to his in-ring movement. Because if you take away the super kicks, he's literally just be punching and kicking. So I think he does need to get a little bit more in his offense. But he does play a good babyface in peril. And what the psychology of this match is, Drew was just kicking his ass, because Drew is the big pissed off bad guy, and he's trying to take out everybody. He literally just beat Jey Uso's ass. He went for the Claymore, and Jey just crumbled. And instead of Drew taking advantage of him, he decided to pose and walk around and be the cocky heel. He went to do it again. Jey Uso rolled him up in the crucifix for the 1, 2, 3. So he kind of stole the win. He outsmarted Drew, and it just gives Drew more ammunition for being pissed off or when he snaps. So what I think is going to happen, and I said that this was going to happen before the show started, but it didn't happen. So I'll say it again so it's on tape. What I think is going to happen is you're going to get a 2-man power trip with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. And you may add KO in there because I failed to mention earlier in the Roman Reigns and Solo match, KO did come out and hit Roman Reigns with a perfect stunner, and Roman's head bounced off of the turnbuckle. So it looked great, you know, because KO hasn't forgotten all the shit that Roman Reigns has done to him. So I like that. So I think you may get a 2-man power trip with a pissed off Seth Rollins, a pissed off Drew McIntyre, and then if they want to go 3, they'll add a pissed off KO. I think that group will be really, really fun, terrorizing the company and just making life a living hell. So I think that's what we're leading to. But again, this Raw to me was really good, really, really good. So then we get into the most cringe moment of the night. So you only got one match left. You got the main event. So before the main event, they do a buffer and Real American starts playing. Now, this is really weird because Real American plays, the crowd gets off their feet like, ah, and then they just let down. Hulk Hogan comes out just looking a mess. He could barely walk. His knees are completely shot. He just looks, it just looks decrepit. He comes out and he starts doing his Hulk Hogan spiel, and the entire arena boos the shit out of him to a point where it started to get so uncomfortable. Me watching it, like I'm watching it like, oh my God, this is terrible, but it's funny at the same time because he's trying to plug his beer and they got this whole Saturday night main event built around him, and it's just like, oh my God, they are booing the holy hell out of him. I don't know if it's the Trump stuff. I don't know what it is. Maybe people are just tired of him. They can't get over the stuff that he did in this past, but they booed the shit out of Hulk Hogan. And he had, I mean, I could just imagine when he went to the back, how he must have threw a fit because he was pissed. You could tell the way he was walking back to the back, it was just man, they were merciless on him. They weren't chanting anything. They just were booing the shit out of him. And it's their right. You don't have to like everybody. And Hulk Hogan's done some pretty crappy stuff over the years, so people are probably just tired of him. I'm a Hulk Hogan fan, so, you know, it is what it is. I was a little Hulkamaniac back in the 80s, so, you know, but it was just weird. You know, then he rips off his shirt and he has the Netflix shirt on, and the fans couldn't give a 2 shits less. They just kept booing him, and it just got more uncomfortable and more uncomfortable. Jimmy Hart has the flag and just waving the flag, and it's just, oh my goodness, bro. I was just like, oh, get the hell. I was like, come on, man. Somebody has to learn how to read the room and wrap him up. But he ended up leaving because he just wanted to plug his beer, his Real American beer. And you know, it was all right. Shit was funny though, man. It's crazy. Like the way the night went, and like MD was saying, he's surprised they didn't boo Undertaker. So I don't think they were booing Hogan because of the Trump stuff. I think they were booing Hogan just because they're tired of Hogan's shit, and they just don't like Hulk Hogan. Because if it was because of the Trump stuff, they would have booed the Undertaker, and they didn't. So, you know, we'll see how that goes, man, because the next Saturday night's main event is built basically around Hulk Hogan. He'll be there with Jesse Ventura, so they may pivot. I don't know. They may pivot because that's not a good look. Let's see. So then we get into the main event. Oh, man. So I will say this. I watched a video today that WWE put out on YouTube. It was like a 20-minute video. I would advise anybody to go watch that video. Seth Rollins did a sit down with Jackie Redmond. Jackie Redmond is so good. Jackie Redmond actually is what is she? She does something with the Florida Panthers. So it's weird. I saw her on local TV one time. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. That's the WWE girl. but she is so good in the interview style. She did a 20-minute sit down interview with Seth Rollins. Fantastic. Seth Rollins talked about, you know, basically how he looked up to CM Punk and how CM Punk left and went to another company and that didn't work. And, you know, he was sitting at home just loving the fact that fans were hijacking the show. And then when they weren't doing it anymore, that's when he decided to come back because he longed for the attention. Oh my God. It was great, man. If you didn't think that this was a work, now I'm not naive enough to think that there may not be some hatred between the two, like a professional hatred. But if you didn't think that they were acting, you'd have thought that these two guys hated each other in real life. Like the way that interview came off, he like literally was burying CM Punk without insulting him. You know, it was just, you know, just pointing out a lot of truths. So I thought it was fantastic, man. If you get a chance, check out that WWE video. That was great. 20 minutes. Seth Rollins and Jackie Redmond. It was fantastic. So we get to the match. Crowd is hyped for both men. They're just trading back and forth. I think that they held back a little bit because we may be continuing this. But I thought that for the first match, this match was great, man. There was a lot of what I didn't like, because I'll criticize other wrestling companies for it. So I criticized WWE. They got to get out of the hitting the finishers multiple times to win. You know, Seth Rollins hit CM Punk with 2 GTSs, and you know, and it didn't put him down, but CM Punk hit Seth Rollins with 2 GTSs, and that's what won the match. So I'm like, okay. CM Punk did a terrible curb stomp, though. He can't do that again. He needs to work on that. They were up on the top rope, and I thought for a second that CM Punk was going to hit him with the Pepsi plunge. I was like, well, wait a minute. We're doing that now? But he ended up basically doing he hit him with a top rope neck breaker. I don't think I've ever seen that in WWE. CM Punk hit Seth Rollins with a top rope neck breaker. And man, it looked as brutal as it sounds. So these guys were going at it, man. It didn't come off over the top and comical. There was no weapons needed or anything like that. It just came off like two dudes who don't like each other, who agreed to fight in the confines of a wrestling match, and that's what they're going to do. Seth Rollins was playing kind of like a little dickbag heel. He was getting in the referee's face and just, so he's planting the seeds. Like I'm telling you, Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre are going to team up sooner rather than later. So, I can't wait for that to happen, man. We'll have a new 2-man power trip. But Seth Rollins, he hit CM Punk with a pedigree out on the table. I mean, this match was really friggin' good. And I feel like if they were on pay-per-view, that probably at the Royal Rumble. Yeah, that's the next show, probably at the Royal Rumble, that they'll really tear the house down. So I was glad to see. I'm glad that this main event. I'm glad that they put them in the main event spot. So that was really good. Seth Rollins, CM Punk ended up winning. He hit Seth Rollins with a GTS that knocked Seth Rollins into the ring. Seth Rollins is out. He falls on CM Punk. CM Punk picks him up, hits him with another GTS for the 1, 2, 3. Now, Seth Rollins hit CM Punk with a GTS. And if you could find this video, I mean, he hit him flush in his face. Man, I thought he knocked CM Punk out because his face hit his knee flush. And I'm like, oh, shit, he hit him hard. But, CM Punk was okay. But I like at the end of the match, nobody got up and was like, rah, rah, rah. They were both winded. Like CM Punk did. I don't even think CM Punk got up. He won the match, but he kind of rolled to the corner and just used the ropes to help him up. He didn't even, he didn't get up and have the ref raise his hands and point at him or anything. I mean, he did the little sleepy sign to him while Seth was in the corner, but both guys were winded. Both guys had been in a fight, man. And I think that it's just the beginning for this. I think that was just the first match in what's going to probably be at least 3 matches. CM Punk, since he's been back, just a pleasure. Just a pleasure. I mean, what else can I say? Seth Rollins is who Seth Rollins is. He is one of the best in the world. He proves it every night when he goes out there. See, Seth Rollins' cheek was bleeding. I mean, they were in a fight. They were just worn out. Like, they literally were just worn out. They had been in a battle. So I thought for a first episode of Raw on Netflix that this show really, really delivered. Like I said, the only complaint that I would have is the commercials, but you're not going to get away from that. Having Hulk Hogan come out, probably not do that, because I don't think they expected everybody to turn on him the way that they did. But I mean, you couldn't have, you couldn't have known that was going to happen. So, but besides that, I think they loaded this show up. I think going forward with it being 3-hour shows, they'll kind of space it out more. But they did want to just load this show up. And man, the building was fantastic. I can't give enough credit to how fantastic aesthetically the building looked. When the lights were turned down, all you see is like red lights in the seats. So I'm like, well, damn, is anybody in the arena? But it's just these lights that they have on the seats, because when they turned the lights up, that place was full. I mean, you had Nikki Bella there. Obviously, you weren't going to have Brie there. But you had Stephanie McMahon was there. You had a lot of TV stars there. It was just good, man. Just fun, man. Just show you WWE is so much far and away over the competition. It's not even funny. While you got two or three of the members of the Shield opening and closing Raw on Netflix, you got the other member just continuing his garbage wrestling. Like, I mean, it's night and day, man. It's not even fair at this point how great WWE is over the competition, man. And I hope that this year they just they just capitalize on last year and just keep doing the thing. I think tomorrow night you do have New Year's Evil NXT. They're going to put on a banging show. I do expect to see 2 title changes. Roxanne Perez will lose the title to Julia, and Obafemi will leave as the new NXT champion. So those are 2 of my predictions for that show. But I think that show is going to be fantastic. NXT always puts on such a great show, man. But hey, that was my thoughts on tonight's episode of Raw, the debut on Netflix, man. Hope you guys like it. Those of you that's new to the channel, make sure and hit that like, share, and subscribe. Those of you watching over on Twitter, try coming on over to YouTube and just hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, check out some other things that we got going on over here. Hey, but that's it for me. I'm out of here. I will catch you guys on the other side. Peace.
Come take a walk through my heart, a stroll through my soul. Being smart from the start, wasn't taught, wasn't told. You could climb through my mind, or fly through my eye. And in time you will find what I rhyme is not a lie. Come take a walk through my heart, a stroll through my soul. Being smart from the start, wasn't taught, wasn't told. You could climb through my mind, or fly through my eye. And in time you will find